My cousin's adopted baby turned out to be my aunt's secret child, and now the whole family is imploding. So I need to get this off my chest because I genuinely don't know what to do with this information, and my family is currently in complete chaos. For context, I come from what most people would consider a pretty traditional, image-conscious family. We're talking about the kind of family where appearances matter more than almost anything else. My grandparents built a successful business from nothing, and they've always emphasized the importance of maintaining the family's reputation in our community. Every holiday, every family gathering, it's all perfectly orchestrated, matching outfits for family photos, carefully curated social media posts, the whole 9 yards. About 3 months ago, at our monthly family dinner, yes, we do those, my cousin Rachel made this huge announcement. She's 32, single, and has always been the rebellious one in the family, the one who went backpacking through Southeast Asia instead of going to law school, much to my Aunt Margaret's horror. Rachel stood up during dessert, tapping her wine glass like she was about to give a wedding toast, and announced that she had adopted a baby. The room went completely silent. You could have heard a pin drop. My grandmother's fork literally stopped midway to her mouth. Rachel went on to explain that she'd been going through the adoption process for the past year, working with an agency that specializes in international adoptions from Eastern Europe. She said she'd kept it quiet because she wanted to make sure everything was finalized before telling anyone. Then she brought out this beautiful baby girl, maybe 4 months old, with these striking blue eyes and wisps of blonde hair. The baby was gorgeous, honestly, and Rachel was absolutely glowing as she held her. She'd named her Sophia. The family's reaction was mixed. My grandparents seemed stunned but tried to recover quickly, my grandmother immediately reaching for the baby. My Aunt Margaret, Rachel's mom, had this weird expression I couldn't quite read, somewhere between shock and something else. My Uncle Tom just kept refilling his wine glass. My own parents were enthusiastically supportive, my mom immediately asking about baby supplies and offering to throw a belated shower. But here's where things started to feel off. Rachel was weirdly vague about the specifics of the adoption. When my mom asked about the agency, Rachel said she'd rather not share because the process was so personal. When my grandfather asked about the paperwork and legal aspects, he's a retired lawyer, Rachel quickly changed the subject. She said the baby was from Romania, but then seemed unsure when my uncle mentioned he had a business colleague in Bucharest who might want to meet up if she ever went back. I didn't think too much about it at the time. Rachel has always been private about her personal life, and I figured adopting as a single woman probably came with its own challenges she didn't want to discuss at a family dinner. Plus, baby Sophia was adorable, and seeing Rachel so happy was genuinely heartwarming. She'd wanted to be a mom for years, and it seemed like she'd finally found her path to motherhood. Over the next few weeks, Rachel brought Sophia to several family events. My grandmother, who had initially seemed shocked, absolutely doted on the baby. She kept saying things like, she has the family eyes and look at those delicate features, which seemed weird to say about an adopted baby from Romania, but my grandmother has always been a bit eccentric. My Aunt Margaret, though, was acting increasingly strange. She'd always been the perfect suburban mom type, president of the PDA, designer handbags, highlights touched up every 6 weeks. But since Rachel's announcement, she seemed constantly on edge. She'd barely hold Sophia, always finding excuses to pass her to someone else. She started missing our family dinners, claiming migraines or work obligations. My Uncle Tom was drinking more than usual, and they seemed to be having whispered arguments whenever they thought no one was looking. Then came the incident that started unraveling everything. Last week, I stopped by my Aunt Margaret's house to drop off some books she'd asked to borrow. It was the middle of the day, and I knew she worked from home on Wednesdays. Her car was in the driveway, but when I rang the doorbell, no one answered. I tried calling her cell, but it went straight to voicemail. As I was about to leave the books on the porch, I heard voices from the backyard. I walked around the side of the house, and through the gate, I could see my aunt in the garden with someone. As I got closer, I realized it was Dr. Helena Morrison, her longtime OB/GYN and family friend. They were sitting at the patio table with what looked like a thick folder of papers between them. My aunt was crying, not just tears, but full-body sobs that shook her shoulders. I was about to turn around and leave when I heard Dr. Morrison say, "Margaret, you can't keep torturing yourself like this. What's done is done. Sophia is better off with Rachel, and you know it." I froze. Why would Dr. Morrison be talking about Sophia? And why would she say Sophia was better off with Rachel, as if there had been another option? My aunt's response made my blood run cold. "She's my daughter, Helena. My biological daughter. How am I supposed to just pretend she's my grandniece? How am I supposed to watch Rachel raise her and not say anything?" I must have made a noise because they both looked up and saw me standing there, holding those stupid books like an idiot. Dr. Morrison immediately started gathering the papers, shoving them back into the folder. My aunt's face went from red and tear-stained to completely white in about 2 seconds. "How long have you been standing there?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I couldn't lie. I told her I'd heard enough. There was this horrible moment of silence where we all just stared at each other. Then my aunt started crying again, and the whole story came pouring out. About a year and a half ago, my aunt discovered she was pregnant. She was 46 years old, had already gone through what she thought was early menopause, and the pregnancy was a complete shock. But here's the thing. Uncle Tom had had a vasectomy 15 years ago after their youngest was born. The baby wasn't his. My aunt had been having an affair with someone she refused to name, saying it would only make things worse if that information got out. When she found out she was pregnant, she panicked. Ending the pregnancy wasn't an option for her due to personal beliefs, but she also couldn't destroy her marriage and her family's reputation. So she came up with a plan. She would hide the pregnancy. She was lucky that she barely showed until the very end and could hide it with loose clothing and working from home more often, have the baby quietly and give it up for adoption. Dr. Morrison, who had been her doctor for 20 years, agreed to help. They arranged everything off the books. My aunt gave birth at a private facility 2 hours away, paid cash for everything, left no paper trail that could connect her to the baby. But here's where it gets even more twisted. Rachel had been talking about wanting to adopt for years. She'd been going through fertility treatments that hadn't worked, and adoption seemed like her next step. Somehow, and my aunt swears this was Rachel's idea, not hers, Rachel found out about the pregnancy. Maybe she overheard something, maybe she noticed the subtle changes despite my aunt's efforts to hide them, but she knew. Rachel approached my aunt with a proposition. She would adopt the baby, keeping it in the family without anyone knowing the truth. My aunt would get to watch her biological daughter grow up, Rachel would get to be a mother, and the family's reputation would remain intact. They even came up with the elaborate Romania adoption story, complete with fake documentation that Rachel had somehow obtained through connections I don't even want to know about. Dr. Morrison had been the only other person who knew the truth. She delivered the baby and handled all the medical aspects to keep it quiet. The folder of papers on the table was apparently medical records she was giving to my aunt, things about the baby's health history that Rachel might need to know but couldn't ask for directly, without raising suspicions. After my aunt finished explaining everything, she begged me not to tell anyone. She said it would destroy her marriage, Tom still doesn't know, ruin Rachel's happiness, and devastate the entire family. She kept saying, "Sophia is happy, Rachel is happy, everyone is happy. Why ruin that?" But the thing is, I can't unknow this information. Every time I see Rachel with Sophia now, I see my aunt's features in that baby's face. The blue eyes that my grandmother commented on? They're exactly like my aunt's. The delicate features? Classic from my aunt's side of the family. And it's eating me alive in ways I didn't expect. At last Sunday's family dinner, I watched my Uncle Tom holding Sophia, calling her his beautiful grandniece, completely unaware that his wife had an affair and that baby is actually his wife's biological child. I watched my grandparents taking photos with what they think is their adopted great-grandchild, but is actually their biological one. I watched Rachel, who seems genuinely happy and fulfilled as a mother, living this elaborate lie. But what disturbs me the most is how natural everyone has become with the deception. My aunt has gotten better at being around Sophia, playing the role of the supportive aunt rather than the biological mother. Rachel has perfected her adoption story, even showing people fake photos of the orphanage in Romania. I have no idea where she got those. The whole family has embraced this narrative so completely that sometimes I question if what I overheard was even real. The weight of this secret is crushing me. I can't sleep properly. I've been avoiding family gatherings because I'm terrible at keeping a poker face. My mom has noticed something's wrong and keeps asking if I'm okay. My partner says I've been distant and distracted. Part of me thinks my aunt is right. What good would come from exposing this? Sophia is being well cared for and loved. Rachel finally has the child she always wanted. My aunt's marriage remains intact. The family's reputation is preserved. Everyone seems happy with the arrangement except for me, the unwilling keeper of this secret. But another part of me feels like this is a ticking time bomb. What happens when Sophia gets older and wants to find her birth parents in Romania? What if she needs medical history that Rachel can't provide without revealing the truth? What if someone else figures it out? The resemblance to my aunt is already noticeable to me now that I know the truth. What about Uncle Tom's right to know that his wife had an affair? What about the fact that Sophia is being denied knowledge of her true biological mother? And then there's the legal aspect that terrifies me. Is this even legal? They forged adoption papers, created an elaborate international adoption story, and are raising a child under completely false pretenses. What happens if authorities somehow find out? Could Rachel lose Sophia? Could people go to jail? I've been carrying this secret for a week now, and it's making me physically ill. I've been researching family therapists who specialize in secrets and family dynamics, but I don't even know how I'd explain this situation without revealing everything. I've considered confronting Rachel to understand her perspective, but what if she denies it? What if she admits it and then begs me to keep quiet too? The whole situation has made me question everything about my family. We always acted like we were so close, so honest with each other, but now I realize we're just really good at maintaining appearances. How many other secrets are being kept? What else don't I know about the people I've grown up loving and trusting? I think about baby Sophia, innocent in all of this, surrounded by people who love her but are all participating in this massive deception about her very existence. She's going to grow up with a completely fabricated origin story. Is that fair to her? Or is it kinder than knowing the truth, that she was the product of an affair that could have destroyed multiple lives? My aunt texts me almost daily now, just casual messages, but I know she's really checking to make sure I haven't said anything. She sent me a photo yesterday of Sophia at the park with Rachel with a message saying, "Look how happy they are together." Rachel was meant to be a mother. It felt like emotional manipulation, but maybe she's right. Maybe they're happy, and maybe that should be enough. But secrets have a way of coming out, don't they? And the longer this goes on, the more people who could get hurt when it eventually does. Because I don't believe for a second that this can stay hidden forever. Someone else is going to notice the resemblance. Someone's going to slip up with the adoption story. Or Sophia herself is going to start asking questions that can't be answered with lies. I've started a journal to document everything, partly for my own sanity and partly because I feel like someone should have a record of the truth. Maybe someday, when Sophia is older, she'll deserve to know. Or maybe this journal will never see the light of day, and this secret will die with those of us who know it. The family dinner is this Sunday, and I'm dreading it. Sitting around that table, pretending everything is normal, watching this elaborate charade play out while my aunt serves her famous lasagna and my uncle pours wine he'll drink too much of. Rachel will probably have Sophia in a new outfit my grandmother bought, and everyone will coo over how much she's growing, how beautiful she is, how lucky she was to be adopted by Rachel. And I'll sit there, choking on this secret along with my food, wondering if I'm complicit in this deception by staying quiet, or if I'd be a monster for speaking up. There's no good answer, no clear right or wrong path forward. Every option seems to lead to someone getting hurt. Sometimes, I wish I'd never gone to my aunt's house that day. I wish I'd just left those books on the porch and walked away. Ignorance really was bliss. But now I know, and that knowledge has changed everything. Every family gathering, every photo, every celebration is tainted with this lie. I've even considered moving away, putting physical distance between me and this situation. But running away doesn't make the secret go away. It doesn't change what I know. And abandoning my family, even with all their flaws and secrets, Doesn't feel right either. So here I am, a week later, still paralyzed by indecision. Do I protect the lie and preserve everyone's happiness? Do I push for the truth and risk destroying multiple lives? Is there a middle ground where Sophia can know the truth someday without it destroying everything now? I keep thinking about Sophia's future. Will she have my aunt's artistic talents? Her stubborn streak? Her laugh? Will Rachel notice these similarities and wonder, or does she already know they're there because she knows the truth? How do you raise a child you know is your cousin's biological daughter and not let that knowledge affect how you parent? The more I think about it, the more I realize this isn't just about one secret. It's about the lengths people will go to preserve their image, the complicated nature of family loyalty, and the weight of carrying someone else's truth. It's about how women of a certain age and status feel they have no options when faced with an unexpected pregnancy that doesn't fit their life narrative. It's about the desperation of wanting to be a mother so badly that you'd participate in such an elaborate deception. Part of me wonders if I'm being dramatic. Maybe in some families, this would just be accepted as a creative solution to a complicated problem. Maybe I'm too rigid in my thinking about truth and honesty. Maybe family is more about love and commitment than biological facts and legal documents. But then I think about Uncle Tom, who has no idea that the baby he's been holding is his wife's child with another man. Doesn't he deserve to know? Or would knowing only cause him pain without any benefit? He seems happy enough now, proud of Rachel for adopting, supportive of her single motherhood journey. Would the truth serve any purpose other than destroying his marriage and his relationship with his daughter? I've gone through every possible scenario in my head. If I tell, the fallout could be catastrophic. Divorce, estrangement, legal issues, trauma for everyone involved, including innocent children. If I don't tell, I have to live with this weight forever, watching this lie play out at every family event for the rest of my life. There's no winning move here. What would you do? How do you balance truth with kindness, honesty with protecting people you love? How do you decide whose happiness matters most? And how do you live with whatever decision you make? I know some people will say the truth always comes out eventually, and it's better to control how and when. Others will say that some secrets are worth keeping if they protect innocent people. I can see both sides, and that's what makes this so impossible. For now, I'm stuck in this horrible limbo, knowing something that could destroy my family, but also feeling like keeping it secret makes me complicit in the deception. Every day that passes makes it harder to imagine ever revealing the truth, but also makes the secret feel heavier. Maybe writing this out will help me figure out what to do. Maybe seeing it all laid out like this will make the right path clear. Or maybe I'll just remain frozen, carrying the secret until someone else discovers it or it becomes irrelevant with time. All I know is that a week ago, I thought I knew my family. I thought I understood the dynamics, the relationships, the bonds that held us together. Now I realize I was only seeing the surface, the carefully maintained facade that everyone worked so hard to preserve. Underneath, there are currents of deception, desperation, and difficult choices that I never imagined. And little Sophia, beautiful innocent Sophia, is at the center of it all, loved fiercely by everyone around her, even if that love is built on a foundation of lies. Maybe that's enough. Maybe love matters more than truth. Maybe protecting her from this complicated reality is the greatest act of love we can offer. Or maybe I'm just trying to justify my own cowardice in not speaking up. I guess only time will tell how this all plays out. But one thing is certain, my family will never look the same to me again. Every smile seems to hide a secret now. Every happy moment feels fragile, like it could shatter if the truth ever came to light. And I'm left wondering if this is just my family, or if every family has these kinds of secrets buried beneath their perfect holiday photos and Sunday dinners.